Technology is not only being employed to improve productivity and profitability in the primary sector. Increasingly, it's being used to address health and safety concerns as well. Blackhawk is a company originally set up to track stolen vehicles, or ones where loans were not repaid on time. Now it's helping to save lives on farms.
Blackhawk got interested in the farm sector about 3 years ago when it was approached by the ATV manufacturers who were getting concerned with the reputation of ATVs as being a high-risk vehicle in the farming community. The package was discovered and worked with by talking to farmers and to the occupational health and safety people, and also to the manufacturers of the gear. The Blackhawk solution, when compared to an EPIRB, has a couple of different characteristics, and there's a particular niche for both. So the EPIRB is something that where the person in distress is physically able to trigger the EPIRB. From the Blackhawk's situation, it's automatic, so even if the person is badly damaged in the incident, the alert will still happen, so it doesn't need someone to make a conscious decision. The second thing about the Blackhawk solution is it does enable a conversation to be had with the rider via the smartphone apps, so it is able to have a conversation to check whether they're actually conscious and what sort of help they may need. The Blackhawk unit has a driver behaviour or rider behaviour monitoring unit associated with that. The Blackhawk system can also be traced and tracked, and so we had a situation about a month ago where somebody purchased one of these units, they installed it on a Friday, on Saturday their bike was stolen, on Saturday afternoon they phoned the local constable and they went and picked the bike up because they could see on their smartphone app exactly where it was. They were also able to disable it, and so the thief was not even able to drive it once they'd noticed it had been stolen. There's a tamper function in the technology, so if someone starts to disconnect the device, it will send off a tamper alert, and the owner will know that the vehicle is being tampered with in the middle of the night and someone's trying to remove the device. What we're holding here are two things. There's a white battery, which simulates the vehicle ATV battery, and the red unit, which is typically installed into the side-by-side or in the case of a ATV in the toolbox. And so this unit operates safely, draws a very small amount of battery power, and in the event of a tip or a rollover, an accident, which we can simulate right now, it'll send a signal out to the friends, neighbours or family via text message or email. So the alert has come through to my smartphone. I've opened up the Google map. I can see a little red dot on the map. It's showing behind the farm shed, precisely where we're standing at the moment. I can open that up and zoom in to find out where it is. This message can go to any smartphone or any computer screen anywhere in the world. Beyond the alert and the rescuing process, which is really the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, the Blackhawk platform allows the farm manager or the supervisor or the OSH coordinator in head office to log on to the platform and to open up and look at the behaviour for each of the different vehicles that they're monitoring. And there's typically 6 things that they are able to see. So that's the off-road speed, the acceleration of the bike, the intensity of the braking, the speed of the cornering, and how steep the hills were that they were traversing up and how steep they were going down. So what we're seeing here is this rider is travelling at a speed typically lower than the average. The average is indicated by the blue line. Their braking is excessive and harder than the average braking on the ATV, and they're also at risk because they're cornering harder than the average rider. And so that enables toolbox type conversations with the riders of those vehicles to say, hey, you're driving really safely, your speed is great, but your cornering is too aggressive, or you're going up and down hills that are far too steep. So that's going to be a leading indicator of a potential accident or fatality. So what we're looking at here is the journey on the day. So this little green line shows the track of the bike, and then there's an event which took place here, which was a panic tip detect, which is when the bike went off the edge of the road.
What drove me to getting devices such as Blackhawk was that we live in quite a remote area with no cell phone reception, and saving life is, like when you're by yourself, is one of our big drivers, and there wasn't many other things on the market like a farm angel, and that really like ticked all the boxes for us. It sent out the alerts and gave us a lot of data so we could track like employee movements and how they're acting on the farm as well. It's one of those one-off fees to get the Black Hawk, and then you got your monthly fees, but that is a small price to pay for what it does in the long term if something does go wrong.
6 minutes. Yeah. So what do you remember of the actual event on the day?
Yeah, well,
is it a blank or is it a memory?
No, this is pretty solid in the brain at the moment. So I remember we came around here and we had a young farm worker start, and we were under the impression that he had quite good training on ATVs. So we were coming back one day and I let him drive, and he got distracted, looked up the hill, and we ran off the road. And our road isn't very forgiving. We went over an 8-metre bank, and he fell out on the initial roll, and I was lucky enough to stay in it to the bottom of the hill. So it was pretty horrific. I broke my C3 vertebrae, my T5 as well, and chipped 3 others. I was probably unconscious for about 10 minutes or so. We were able to establish that by looking at the Black Hawk time of accident and when actually another device was set off. And yeah, I was unconscious and in pretty bad shape. There wasn't any cell phone coverage where we are, so it made it very difficult, like for anything else to be used. So that's why the Black Hawk, I suppose, is such a key bit of equipment for us. The Black Hawk sent off the original signal, which I think gets sent to 3 or 4 of my family, and by text message, and then they call up home and see, for one, where's the vehicle, who's out on the farm and whatnot. And in conjunction with our other safety equipment, we were able to have like a helicopter on site within about 45 minutes. If I had any advice for other farmers, it's money well spent. It saved my life. It gives you a lot of application to do other things on the farm and monitor, especially staff movements with young guys and that. And I have nothing but good things to say about it. We're actually kind of lucky that we went off where we did instead of like another 5-10 metres down the road, because it would have been a lot worse actually.
It certainly isn't Big Brother. The design of the solution has been more around a coaching and mentoring role. A lot of people work alone. It's very hard to be able to coach and mentor someone if you can never see them. And so this provides those insights on a daily, weekly or quarterly basis, where one can sit down with the riders and take a look and see what they're doing and give them some coaching and some feedback.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.